I'll tell you a story if you want to, but
Yeah,
we
yeah,
prayed
please do.
many times and just said, Holy Spirit, you know the things that are hidden in the darkness and the light are the same to you.
Hmm.
If there is something we need to know,
Mhm.
then show us. And if there's not, we're going to cast this demon out, right?
Yeah,
We cast all kinds of things out of Deborah, not knowing, you know, a lot of stuff. But every once in a while, God would show us something. So we were, we were, you know, who I'm talking about, DJ,
yeah, yeah,
formerly
definitely.
Ray LeVay. So we were fasting and praying, and that there was a group of demons, and they called themselves something like the company. We are the company, or uh, something like that. But anyway, uh, we would we were trying to get a handle on what was going on. We found out there were seven of them. We are the seven. We are the company. You will never get us out. We know things you don't know, whatever. So we're praying, Lord, help us. And if there's something we need to know that empowers them, uh, please bring it to our minds. So, um, so DJ, she came out of one of these prayer times, and she said, every time those spirits speak, my right hand begins to hurt really bad. And I said, really? And I said, you know why? She said, no, but I have scars on my right hand. She said, I'm thinking maybe they put an internal fetish into my right hand that is empowering them, because a fetish, you know, fetishes are so powerful that when Achan brought one back from Jericho, the entire nation of Israel was cursed because he had a fetish hidden under his tent. They're really powerful.
Mhm.
And by the way, in that story, the Battle of Ai, God said, you will never be successful again until you find the accursed object and get it out of the camp. That's that's a heck of a statement.
Actually, why the treasure that Achan stole from Jericho? Why do you define it as a? Why was that a fetish? Just because it was a cursed object, or?
Well, yeah, it's a cursed object. If you, okay, so the conquering of Canaan,
Mhm.
there are only two categories. There are regular sinful people, which were always treated benevolently. I mean, they were conquered, yeah, but the wives weren't killed, the kids weren't killed, the cattle wasn't killed. Uh, and if they surrendered, they were just absorbed into Israel. But the Nephilim tribes, they killed everything that breathed.
Mm.
Jericho was a Nephilim stronghold. That means it was an occult city. And he said before they went in, remember, don't remove anything from the city, burn it all. Now, what it said is that he had silver, and that's used in occult practices, first of all, prophetically for the betrayal of the Christ through Judas,
Right.
30 pieces of silver. And of course, after the fact, it's not prophetic anymore. It's just the symbol of betrayal of God. But
Uh-huh.
anyway, so it was silver and a Babylonish cloak.
Oh.
Well, Babylon was the world center of witchcraft and occult.
Oh.
So, anyways, no, there's in my mind, there's no doubt he had cursed silver and he had a warlock's robe.
Oh.
Interesting.
Uh, but anyway, you know what happened? God said,
Uh-huh.
you don't go to war. You will never win again unless you find the accursed things and remove them from the camp. We're just getting ready. Every October, we do a holy Holocaust. And we
Right.
just say, hey, uh, fetishes are things that have been wholly dedicated to Satan.
Okay.
Fetishes don't get saved, redeemed. They have to be destroyed. And so if you have fetishes in your house, you can pray till the cows come home. But what you need to do is remove the accursed thing from your house. That's God's prescription for it. I
Yeah.
was just praying for a girl in Southern Cal, and this friend said, "Oh, can you help my friend's girlfriend? She's really going comatose, and it was obviously demonic." But anyway, when I went over there, the whole house was full of fetishes,
Oh,
Mm.
and I told the boyfriend, I said, "Do you believe in God?" He said, "Yeah, I believe there's a God." I said, "Well, here's the deal. Your girlfriend, this is not a biological issue. Your girlfriend is being systematically destroyed by demonic forces, and she will die if you don't clean this house out." He said, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "Well, what do I mean? You have all kinds of extremely evil things. You have evil paintings. You have pornography. You have a glove worn by an SS commander who is torturing Jews. Those are not good things to have in your house." And I mean, I could go on and on. It was a long
right.
list of things. And he said, "Oh man, I'm a collector." I said, "Well, you're going to be a collector with a dead girlfriend."
Uh,
And I said, "It's up to you. I'm going to go home to Yuba City tonight. I'm going to be fine. But I'm just telling you, you can't have your cake and eat it too. So if you want to do it God's way, then throw down and get it on.
yeah.
And that means clean out everything that reminds you or anyone else of Satan." I said, like that big 666 Hail Satan sign. You need that out of your house. You can't pray, "Oh God, bless this sign," right? No, that needs to go.
Right.
And he was he's still a traveling rock singer and everything. And he said, "Man, it's just something people say." I said, "No, it's not just something people say. People say it, but it ain't just something."
Right.
And so I said, here's the deal, man. I may never see you again. I do care about you. And what's happening to that woman is tragic and it's demonic.
Yeah.
But you can't have me just come wave a wand over her. What you need to do is do things God's way. So that's the decision you need to make. The good news is, he said, "Man, I have to think about it." But I just heard that he did think about it. He had the friend that told me about it, went over and helped him clean out the house.
Mm.
And, and his girlfriend is recovering.
That's
And
Good.
a lot of times, I mean, we don't know how long fights go on.
Right.
Everybody loves a single punch knockout, but they're
Right.
not all that way. Sometimes, you just keep on praying and you see gradual improvement.
Yeah.
I don't really care as long as we get to the victory crown.
Yeah.
And so in her case, it's just she's being restored a little at a time.
Good.
awesome.
But
What happened with
anyway.
Deborah Joy when you found out about the internal fetish?
Oh yeah. So anyway, her hand kept hurting. I said, "Well, we asked God to help us. Maybe that's God. Let's go get an X-ray." Remember, they said, "We are the seven. We have a secret. We are the seven."
Uh-huh.
We had a Christian doctor of the church, and I said, "Hey, after hours, can we come in and have you X-ray a hand and see if it has any fetishes in it?" And he's part of the church, and so he knew about fetishes. He said, "Really?" I said, "That'd be interesting." We went in there, and he took a picture, and he said, "Wow, that's amazing." I said, "What?" We hadn't told him anything about the group. He said, "There are seven little tiny silver stars in the flesh of her hand."
Oh,
I said, "Really?" I said, "Could you take them out?" He said, "Yeah, that's what I do." He removed them, put them in a little container. We took them home, made a fire, and threw it in the fire. And when we threw them in the fire, instantly a swirl of smoke and fire went,
whoa.
and she was, and those demons went with it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow.
We never, it's not like we destroyed the fetish and then said, okay, now you have to leave. They left, man.
Their whole
And
recruitment.
when the thing happened, she screamed and it was gone.
That's
But
Yeah.
anyway, that's how fetishes work.